Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to my progress report for September. As I stated earlier, it's going to be mostly all about the inks this month. So even though it's only September 15th, I've already had a lot of fun in my ink journal with 30 inks. Most days I did at least 2. Some days I did 0 and some days I did 5. You know, I just spent a lot of time at my ink desk. So I didn't date the pages. I just numbered because I wanted to do at least 30 because I have so many ink samples that I want to go through. So I've got the tiles here and I've got the pages, and then I've got 8 pens that I decided to ink because of my experience in the ink journal. I decided to ink them up and write letters with them. So, but we'll do it in reverse this time. We'll do that report card and talk about that at the end. So, number 1. Oh, and I wanted to show you the little pen that I use for everything. It's right here. It's the Serendipity Mini. It's a blue, transparent blue, and it's got a broad nib from Opus 88. It's branded Opus 88. So it's got the broad steel nib, and that's what I used on almost every page except for when, after I made the tile on some of them, I got so excited I just inked a pen with, you know, and I have specified where it is a pen instead of the dip pen. But this little dip pen is the hybrid, and I'll link my review on it. So it is a lot like, it's just like using a fountain pen, but you just dip it. And so, interestingly, my main one, I started having a little bit of trouble where it seems as if it's loosened up now, and I've had it for years and years, like I think 6 or 7 years at least, and I got a lot of ink on my fingers, so I'm going to have to investigate what's going on with that one. That makes me real sad if that's the case. But this one I hadn't used as much, so I started using the little one because I wasn't getting any of that with this one. So, okay, so just so you know which pen I was using. Okay, so the first one is Colorverse Coffee Break. And I have put on here the initials of the people who've sent these inks whenever I knew, which is almost everyone I know who sent it. And I want to just say a big blanket thank you to begin with to everybody who's sent ink samples over the years. So I wrote down I had been confusing this one with Robert Oster Coffee Date, which is much lighter. So I was real delighted with this. And I've done an chromatography on each one of these too, so we could kind of look at it. It's really pretty. This is a nice one. It looks like it has quite a bit of red in it. You could see that here, and you could see it in the chromatography strip as well. It's pretty, but I know how Sailor 50 States Texas is, and I now have another one, Birmingham Smokestack, that beat it. So it's a great sample and everything, but I end up you know, knowing that I'm already crazy about those other two, which is good because I'm not really in the market to buy ink. I shouldn't be buying any ink because I have so much, but I think we all could probably say that. And it doesn't always remain true, so that we're not buying ink. But anyway, okay. When we go to the library, I'll tell you why I sound like a dingbat today, but we'll save that for the end. The next one is the Diamine Maple Leaf Shimmer. Oh my goodness, this was kind of hiding away in my samples and I had no idea. This is really pretty. It reminds me of the most rare leaves that you find in Vermont in autumn. You know, you don't find as many with the beautiful red. You find a lot more oranges and yellows and like that. So this is pretty, and it's got that gold shimmer on it. So real pretty. And this is the chromatography. I'm going to have to kind of go right along because with 30 of them, it's going to take a long time. But okay, so next up was Diamine Caladian Cat, and it's a pale blue-gray. I kind of knew this would probably be too light for me, but it is pretty. I got out my big ornamental size 4 and dipped it, and then I could read it. You know, and I can read this too. I'm not saying you can't read it, but it's just lighter than what I prefer, but that's what a sample is for, so that's pretty cool. separate samples that I've written with that are too light. Yeah, this is something I need to do. I do need to do that because then I can find someone who likes the lighter colors and send them a packet of, you know, of ink. There's the kind of a little rainbow of a chromatography. So that was that one. And then next up was in the most recent batch of Birmingham samples was Puce Lagoon. And it's really interesting. I mean, I couldn't help myself after seeing this tile that I wanted to try it. But then when I got it in a nib, it went over toward gray more than I thought it was going to. I don't know why, probably just because of the swatch. I thought it was going to be a little bit deeper. And it is if you get it in a 2.0. I mean, then well, I don't know. It still looks a little bit gray, but I feel like you get a little more readability and green in there. But it's still good. I even wrote that down, readability good. It didn't do much with the water brush. Oh, I didn't use the water brush on this other one. Huh. Mostly I tried to use the water brush on everything to give you an idea of how it lifts or if it would be good for art and so forth. So another pretty one, but I don't, it doesn't linger with me. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I never did ink up a pen with this ink, but I left space for it. I suppose I can come back to it. So this one is one I've had a long time. It's Mont Blanc Velvet Red. And this is really pretty. It's William Shakespeare Velvet Red. Limited edition. No, I put down no longer available, so I'm going to trust I must have looked that up. It's a beautiful deep red. I don't have much of it left. I know I've played around with it a little bit in the past, but I was thinking I might be able to finish it up, but I found so many I wanted to ink up that I didn't get to do this one yet. But I'd like to actually just put this in a lamy with a broad nib. I really would. That would be great. So I'm going to pull that sample out of the tray and keep it aside so I can do that. Beautiful, and the chromatography was interesting. It gives you a nice solid, you can see that there's a little bit of water resistance because mostly you can't see the dots from the paintbrush on many of these, like the one that we just did before that, very little. So that just indicates it. And then here you see how it leaves kind of a solid gray. So that was interesting. This next one is a very sad story. So this one is Sailor Mano Nadeshiko. And it's gorgeous. And I was excited. And I went to the sink to put this little bit in I was putting it in a TWSBI. But I was using the tube. And I haven't done that in a long time. And I had a terrible spill. I lost the ink sample. I spilled it in a bad area by the sink where I couldn't even save it. So I'm really sad about that because I really like this a lot. It's really pretty. It didn't lift too well with the water brush. It did a little bit, but it's very, very bright. It's cheerful. And I really liked it and it's gone. Oh, well, that's what happens, but it doesn't happen very often. I don't normally end up losing my ink in the sink. Okay. So number 7, yeah, because it's not day 7. I just numbered the pages to keep up with how many I was doing, is Birmingham Violet Sea Snail. And I forgot how bright and cheerful this was. I actually thought this was too light at first, but I mean, in my mind, in my memory, I mean, because it's not. It's really pretty, and it looks kind of complex. It's just gorgeous. So you could see, I mean, it was tough deciding which inks to ink up, you know, for my pens. And I didn't do a great job of it. I think I probably got several dark, real saturated ones where I could have kind of mixed my colors a little bit better, you know, given myself more variety. So the next one is Robert Oster Red Gold. And, okay, this was pen friend FD. I mean, I've got the initials there. I'm just going to type that all out when I do the description, I think. Because I think I'll get hung up over trying to remember. But like I said, thank you very much. This is a beautiful gold shimmer on a red ink, and it's pretty. And it plays so well with the water. In fact, many of Robert Oster's do, if not all. I guess I can't say for absolute sure that all of them do, but every one that I've tried, it seems like they work so well with a water brush. And I think Nick Stewart uses a lot of Robert Oster inks. He's an artist from Australia. I think he's in Australia. Wait, I shouldn't say that because I may be wrong about where he's from, but he uses a lot of Robert Oster inks. So, and I don't know why I was surprised, but I was surprised that this ink had responded so well. At first I wasn't seeing the shimmer, but I certainly did once I put it down on a line there. And I could see it very well on the tile. At first I thought, where's the shimmer? But it was just, you know, in the writing where I wasn't really seeing it too much. So pretty. It had a very straightforward chromatography. Okay, so next up, okay, this is one that I put in a pen, so I'm going to have to make sure I make a separate pile with starting with this one. This is Diamine 150th Anniversary Espresso. I think that this was Pen Friend KS, so I'm going to do that, but I'm going to put a question mark because I'm not sure, and that really got to me at the time because I couldn't find my original coloring card. But this is gorgeous, and I, right away, when I saw how it reacted with the water, and it's a brown, which I seem to be on a real brown jag these days. There's no question about it. I'm inking a whole bunch of brown pens for whatever reason. I mean, brown inks. I don't have brown pens, but I've got lots of brown ink. So this was a wow, just really nice. And that's a really generous sample of one that I'm not sure whether you can find it anymore, but it's definitely been out a long while. So very pretty. Okay, separate stack. I gotta remember that. Okay, then the next one is Anderillium Motor City Amethyst Purple. This is just so bright and gorgeous ink. Very saturated and yet not too runny, not too thick. It's got really good flow in my opinion. And I didn't notice any bleed back through. I was actually worried about that. I thought, oh, as dark as this is, and it flows like a pilot ink, I was really interested. And I think these inks are made in Florida, so this is really interesting. I went to their website. That's how, like, I know I played with this once before, but I was really wanting to revisit it. So it's just gorgeous. It's got super flow, and we've got another one by this same company coming up a few pages from now, I think. Oh, that's where I discovered my serendipity was kind of leaking, and the ink was getting all over my finger when I knew I'd cleaned around the top of the pen. So I'm thinking, as well, it feels like it's tight in there though. But, you know, just the slightest bit of wear over so many years, it could be pulling that nib, cleaning it for so many years. Maybe I've loosened it too much, you know. Okay, so next up, ink number 11, is Pannonia Rocacoma Fox Friend. A very bright, beautiful orange ink. And it's lovely. These Pannonia inks, any that I've come across, I've liked them a lot. I've all dealt with them only in samples so far. I've never had a bottle, but I've really enjoyed the samples. And that was very responsive to the water brush. Very, very nice. Okay, made in Hungary. So I must have been looking this up too, because I thought, why don't I know more about this ink? But it's gorgeous, really nice. Okay, so next up is another, okay, this is Dominant Industry Unicorn, which is just so charming on the tile, but I was almost certain that I wouldn't get along with it for writing, and I was right because it's just too light for me. It may be actually coming across darker for you on the camera. I'll check that out when I screen it, but it's definitely too light for me for readability. I did grab out my ornamental number 4, and that's when you can tell that I'm suspecting I'm not going to be able to read it, is when I pull that out. Very flowy and everything, but oh boy, it's so nice. I think, you know, as little touches in artwork, it would be great. Okay, or for people who like a lighter ink. Okay, so next up is Colorverse Miss Baker. This is gorgeous ink, and I thought, how come I haven't, you know, discovered this better? It's been in my samples for quite a while that a pen friend sent, And it's just a gorgeous pink. Appears to be 15 mil. Oh, it's a 15 mil companion ink. You know how Colorverse does that? They give you the little, I don't know that I have any out right now. I thought I did. I'm looking around. Oh, maybe. Okay. Well, this is a repurposed one, but this is the size. It comes in. I had put some Diamine ink in there, my Red Dragon. So, because I wanted to see, does this come in a big bottle or what? But it's the small one. Unless maybe they offer it different. I didn't go really deep with my research, but I did look it up. And this one does remind me a little bit of Diatramenis Apple Blossom, but it's a little deeper maybe. Especially on the watercolor paper, it appeared darker. And I said it may look like Vanessa Colorverse Think Pink, but I think in a nib that ink might be a little bit lighter. And that's a real generalization there. Okay, next up is Andoryllium Motor City Peacock Blue. This is the other one that I was telling you that is by the same company as this purple, amethyst purple one. And it was from the 2022 Detroit Pen Show. Very pretty, flowy, made in the US, really nice, very wet ink. Oh, and I'm noting it's so much easier for me to find color tiles. Yeah, I didn't have to make all these tiles, so I know that I had at least looked at them. There were only maybe a handful I had to make for this project, and I was all set to make one for every ink, so I think I had already done that in the past. Okay, here's another Pannonia one. If I'm not mistaken, this came from Vanessa quite a while back, and it is a sample that I have, and it's Meg's Sour Cherry. And I remember that I've had it in some kind of a nib before, but I really had fun with this because it kind of reminds me of Colorverse Redshift. It's so bright, so beautiful and saturated. And so yeah, there's that one. Okay, here's another, too light for me, but it's, okay, so this is a Pannonia. Copper. Can't decide if it's peach or orange. Well, it's probably coming across bright orange on the screen, but it has a peachy look to it. And there you have it. I got the ornamental out so you can tell. But that would be readable for most people. It'd be dark enough for many people that I know, but I'm a little fussy about that. So, okay, then next up is Dominant Industry Dawn, and it is a shimmer ink. Let's see if you can kind of see that. I'm having trouble seeing. It's a lovely shimmer, and it really looked nice in splats too. I had fun with that. But there I am again with the wide nib, so I could tell that I was getting a little frustrated. Now, sometimes that's just because you're using a dip pen, but that dip pen holds a lot of ink, so that's not really it's not against it. Okay, so here is Private Reserve Black Cherry. And that is really pretty. Oh my goodness, it's just absolutely stunning. A deep, deep burgundy, with red. It's gorgeous. No problem with this ink in terms of saturation, flow, and readability. Okay, so there's that one. And then, oh, this was where I went on a wild streak of burgundies. I think it just goes on quite a ways. Next is Monteverde Blueberry Muffin. Another very pretty maroon burgundy ink. I think I've had this for quite a while too. But this may be one of the very few that I can't remember who sent it. And I couldn't recognize either the writing on it, or maybe it had it may have had a company label on it, which then I wouldn't have a chance of recognizing whose writing it was. Okay, so the chromatography inner base color does resemble blueberry juice. Yeah, it does. It kind of does. When you don't want to stain your clothes, you're making blueberry muffins or something. You get it all over the place. Really pretty. Okay. And next up, another one. This one I know I wrote with last year. It's Diatramenis Elderberry. It's still on my list for a full bottle. And every time I revisit it, I still feel the same, that it's just gorgeous and I love it. It looks so nice in my medium TWSBI Eco that, okay, this is pen number 2 that I inked up for this time. Let's see. I make sure and put that tile where it needs to be, okay? Purchase this ink. Yeah, I keep telling myself, you know, purchase this ink. Like, you know, I'm trying not to do that, but I'm still leaving little booby traps for myself. Okay, so next up is Diamine Burgundy Royale. This is really gorgeous. This is new to me. It just came my way this past week. In fact, it was probably, I think it came in while I was in progress of doing these two. So I used it right away. I said, oh, I'm going to try this sample right away. Yeah, it was a sample, right? Yeah, it was. There's one of them, the Papier Plume was a bottle, I think. I have moved some things around, and that's driving me crazy, but I made a note here that I also like Diamine Oxblood, and I do have that ink in a little bottle. So this was real pretty. Burgundy, I don't think I inked that one up, though. No, but the next one I did. I wanted to see how this looked in a nib. So this next one is Papier Plume Burgundy, and it looks so purpley, right? It really, it's quite a puzzler, and if you wonder why I sound funny, it's because I'm trying to find the bottle. I wanted to make sure I'd looked at the name correct, but I don't know. Oh, here it is. Yeah, it's Papier Plume Burgundy. And it's coming across to me kind of purpley, but I guess that's the way it is with those. That's why sometimes I end up filing things wrong, because it's purple. Is it purple? Is it burgundy? What is it? And then it'll have something in its name that makes you think that it's going to be a true burgundy. So, and off I go trying to figure that out. But it's really nice, and I put that in a Pilot Kakuno. So I'm going to put that aside because we'll be looking at it. Okay, then next up, this is a sample I've had for years from Pen Friend BH, and it's Krishna Moonview. It's gorgeous, and if it were easier for me to find these Krishna inks, I'd already have a little bottle. They do have really cute little bottles that they do. They're like this. This is another repurposed bottle, and I don't know if it's 20 mil, something like that. I can't remember, but it is a small amount. I'm looking because I know I have another one that actually would say, but nothing ever shows its face when I'm looking for it. So look at how drastic that water brush drew that beautiful blue out. It's like a nice bright turquoise, and it's just a gorgeous blue. Yeah, I really love this. Can't remember where to order. I think I've ordered Krishna inks from Pen Chalet in the past, but I haven't been ordering too much in the past couple of years. I knew how much ink I had, and I really slowed down, which is a good thing. But oh, and that's in a pen too, so I'm going to put that aside. Hopefully I'll remember each one that's in a pen so I don't have to go looking for them later. But okay, so the next one is Birmingham Pen Company Elderberry, and this one is one where it could have been SB and it could have been CS, and I unfortunately don't know, and I should know. Okay, so it kind of looks purple, but dark purple, and you may be seeing it as black. Down here you get a pretty good idea. You see that violet coming out, and it has some water resistance. Let me hold that up so you can see that. It's really nice. Yeah, and I can't find the original coloring, so oh, I'd already noted that here. Yeah, probably, why am I saying probably too dark for me? Well, because it ends up in a nib looking purple gray, but it doesn't look dusty enough for me. Like, it doesn't lean purple, it leans gray in the nib to me. So if I really love my gray and I really love my purple, but I'm fussy about the in-between. It has to have more purple than gray. I think that'll make sense only to the ink connoisseurs out there, but oh, don't make me laugh. Oh, I'll explain. And I'm talking to myself, okay. This is Diamine Sailor's Warning, a shimmer ink. It's gorgeous. It's got kind of a pink purple shimmer, and so it really, really kind of changes the ink when you get it in the nib. It leans toward an orange. It looks like the crayon in the box that's red-orange, you know, when you're a kid. So this was really a lot of fun. And I put red ? Because it started to look more orange to me every time. You know, it's one of those chameleon type. Well, it isn't, I don't think, but to me it's a chameleon, so. Okay, next up is Diamine Honeyburst. This is gorgeous. It seems like I should have some initials on this one too. I'll have to look into that though, because I don't have anything in front of me that would even be a clue. Let's see. The Honeyburst. Oh no, that's not there. Never mind. I'm going to knock things over and I'll be just like Coco, my cat. So it lifted really nice with a water brush. It has a pretty little chromatography. Yeah, I had got some splats here on the side, so I just made a bigger mess. This time I did a lot of this kind of thing, trying to see how flowy it was once I got it in the nib. I did a lot of that, and it looks messy, but it helps me quite a bit, so. Okay, so, you know, and it's pretty, but I feel like I've got plenty of inks in this kind of a range. So, oh, and it's lovely. It reminds me of the inner part of the Lockbee notebooks almost. It's mostly orange, yellow, but kind of comes out as gold. Their little liner to their field journal and everything. Okay, so here we have a really fun thing going on. We got Lamy Violet Blackberry, and we've got Colorverse Beam Me Up. So here's the tile on each one. Let's see, is that all in the frame? It's kind of hard to get everything in the frame at the same time, but these two came in this past 2 weeks while I was working on this project. So anyway, I decided I had to splat these because I just knew. This Lamy Violet Blackberry, it's gorgeous. It's got like almost a bronze looking sheen. I don't know what they're calling it, you know, officially. Maybe they're calling it a gold sheen, but okay, so I also have this in a nib. So that's the next one that's in a nib. Okay, and then I also put Colorverse Beam Me Up. Let's see, we can compare them side by side. The Lamy Violet Blackberry has much more of a either gold or bronze sheen. And then the Colorverse Beam Me Up has a green sheen, almost like the Lamy Dark Lilac 2024. So, oh boy, I really went to town on these two. These are just gorgeous and fun to try out. This is actually, the Colorverse is a Troupe. I wonder if that's how they pronounce their name. Exclusive. They're the company that has a monthly pen box where you can kind of get a different, whatever level you want to get with inks and pens. Subscription box is what I'm trying to say. So, okay, Lamy Blackberry and Colorverse Beam Me Up are in pens. So, okay, I didn't show you this yet. This is the splatter for Colorverse Beam Me Up. It's got that just gorgeous sheen. It's green in the splatters, and I'm hoping I'm showing it, but I cannot see well. I'm having a terrible time. When I watch it, I'll probably be able to tell if I got a little in there, I think. Okay, so I just had to do that. These two inks really inspired me. The Lamy Violet Blackberry kind of looks darker in the nib, and you get kind of you get a little bit of sheen on the Tomoe River paper, but I'm seeing even more beauty on the writing paper that I'm using right now, which I was finishing up some a rofel, and I've started on this one. It's the Life paper, so I had some really nice results on this. I need to try to work on being able to show you that, but it's been an interesting time this week. Okay, so that's those two, and then we got just two left. We've got Diamine Hell's Bells, which is a German exclusive, and it's a teal. At least I'm seeing it as a teal. I don't. Sometimes I wonder about myself, and it's got a lot of red sheen. And it's gorgeous. I mean, it's a little much for rinsing out of things, but you know how that is. Like, the more saturated it is, the longer you're going to be cleaning it, but it's gorgeous. It's well worth it. And then the other one, I got these two at the same time as samples from a pen friend. This one is Diamine Master of Puppets. And it's got, where this one has the red sheen, this one has kind of that green, or I think it's green sheen, and it's gorgeous. I did not splat these two because, well, I was doing so many other things, but they're just gorgeous. And I did put each one of those in a nib, so let me count the cards. I hope it comes out to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think I managed to do that. So that now we can shift over to the report card. Because I did, even though I haven't written with each one for a full 2 weeks, I have, you know, a pretty good idea of how they're doing. And here's the report card. So, let's see how we're going to do this. This is going to be a long video, I'm afraid. Okay, so I put Diamine 150th Anniversary Espresso into the Genhao 82 with a broad, I think it's a goulet nib. Let's see. Yeah, it's a broad goulet nib, and I really like this. It's beautiful, flowy, and it's a deep brown, and it is different. It's not in my normal medium brown. It's quite a bit darker, but I enjoy it a lot. And in my journal, which is this one right here, the Good Ink Impressions. This is 68 GSM Tomoe River paper. I see it as brown in this, so I'm happy with it. As long as I don't see a brown as black with my vision, you know, I know that the cameras can do that with the lighting and the lens on the camera and all that kind of thing. So that was the first one. And then the next one is the Diatramenous Elderberry, which I put in this lovely pen. This is the TWSBI Eco Rose Gold and Black with a medium nib, and it gets an A+. The other ink, this one got an A. Probably would have been A+, but it's just a tad not my shade, but I still loved it. But not A+ love like this one. This one I keep putting booby traps everywhere for myself, wish list for purchase and all that. Oh, and I did note the page number so I could turn back to look at those if I needed to. But yeah, this is tried and true. I would, if I had a bottle of this ink, I would just keep putting it in this pen over and over and over, because that's a perfect medium nib for it, and it's just so gorgeous. So okay, so then next up is the Papier Plume Burgundy. I put that in a little Pilot Kakuno with a cursive medium, a CM nib. And it kind of pales in comparison to the elderberry. Otherwise, I think I would have gotten an A+, because I like it, but it isn't as bright. So I'm grading it against that one before, which, looking at the tiles, I wouldn't think it would do that. So I'm thinking that it's very possible that the nib makes a big difference. This is the CM, and it's drier. Let's see, I should have done a little. See how much drier that is than that one was? That had a lot more. So even in a medium nib, this nib is drier. So that's my little speculation, that if I put this into this pen with a broad nib, I might have had a brighter, like experienced the ink in a brighter kind of tone, and I might have liked it better. But that's why we do all this, really. That's why we do all this testing. And so I consider it fun, you know. So next up is the Krishna Moon View, and I put that in my old Lamy Vista, the one that's all worn out, with a Lamy broad. Yeah, Lamy broad nib. I was going to say, how come it doesn't look broad? But it is broad. And it's A++. There's something about that gorgeous color with that red sheen and the flow. This ink is so old. It's got to have been way, way back, like 2017, 2018, since I've had it. I'm surprised I hadn't used it all up. It's going to be gone now. The sample will be gone. But also, I think that pen friend used to send a lot of you know, large samples. So it was A++, and it makes me not want to chase the ink because I have others in this category, but definitely reminds me what I like about the saturated Krishna inks. They're so gorgeous. They know what they're doing. These are made in India and they're gorgeous. Oh, okay, it's not the first one by Krishna that I kind of fell for. Okay, then next up, I've got the Lamy Violet Blackberry, and I moved that around quite a bit, and you know, I had it in one pen and cleaned it out. I had it in the Parker Vector, but it was too dry. But it is just right in this Lamy All-Star Purple with a medium Lamy nib. I didn't quite want the broad because I had a feeling, let's see, page 142. I had a feeling from my sampling, yeah, that the broad made it kind of look black because it just puts down so much ink. So I wanted to have something. I could have used a Lamy fine nib, but actually I think the Lamy medium is just right. But unfortunately I don't have a whole page for you. I just can tell you I've written letters with it with this medium nib, and it's perfect. It's just perfect, and it really shows this ink off nicely. So there's that one. Oh, what's the grade? Let's see, where are we? It gets an A. Yeah, I think I'm reserving because I think there may even be a better nib for it. And it could be that the Lamy fine nib would be better. Generally, I like a Lamy fine nib better than a medium. So, okay, and then moving right along is the Colorverse Beam Me Up. And I put it in my Schneider Ray that has a medium, but it's really a broad nib, but they call it a medium. Made in Germany pen. And it's just fabulous. Look at all that spread that you get when you smear the smear test. It's just fabulous. It's flowy, and the color is really nice. It's super, super. And, you know, and some of my writing papers pick up a nice sheen, a nice green sheen. So that was really cool. Okay, now the last two. The first one is the Diamine Master of Puppets, that deep burgundy. And I've got that in, let's see, I'm going to get these all mixed up. No, it's this one. In the TWSBI Go Clear with a broad nib. And I just gave it an A+. It's saturated, it's beautiful, flowy. You can't ask for more. And it's juicy, like it's just really a juicy ink. So pretty. Okay, so then last but not least is the teal, the Diamine Hell's Bells. And I put that in another of my TWSBI Goes with a broad nib, but this is a nib that's been moved around. It didn't come on this go, and it's a smaller broad nib. You know, there's a little variation. It came on a Eco, and I really wanted the broad TWSBI nib on an Eco. I wanted, yeah, so I switched them because this came with a super broad one. Pretty, super pretty and saturated. Definitely A+. So, you know, I see though that I only chose one really, really super bright one. Well, the elderberry is bright on most papers. What you see here is because it's a 68 Tomoe River paper, and it does dull it down just a little bit, even with the camera. So that's where I would have done different. I probably should have taken one of those pretty reds, so I had a little more variety, because I'm looking at it and I've got like teal, dark purple, dark purple, dark purple. Oh my goodness, I went nuts with the purple again and the burgundy. But that's okay. I'm also have some fill-in inks that I'm just finishing, so I kind of considered those colors too. Okay, so I think it's time to move over to the library and finish this video. What are we up to? Woo! It's going to be a long one, folks. Here I am over in my little library room, and I'm just really glad I made it this far with the video, because I promised to tell you why I was a little bit dingy. On Friday morning I fell, and I really banged myself up, and thank goodness it doesn't appear that anything's broken, but I certainly have plenty of pain going around. And today I'm trying not to take Motrin. It's like day 3, Friday, Saturday, today's Sunday. And I'd like to try not to take that. And so I'm kind of roughing it out to see how it goes. I did sleep better last night, but I don't know how, but somehow just going from my office through into the kitchen, my sneaker just caught on the little seam thing, and you went airborne. I can't seem to just have a simple fall. Oh my goodness. And the last fall I had, well, the last one I had was not my fault. It was it was my nephew Doggy plowed me over from behind, and I went up and down, and so I was airborne that time too. It's always an animal, but this time it was just me. So the time before that, where I was just a little bit over 40 when I fell, it was trying to avoid, falling on my cat Mina, because she had run through, knocked something down, and then I tried not to kill her, basically, not to land on her. If you're a pet owner, that's kind of the way it goes sometimes. You're trying so hard not to end up on top of them. But this was purely me, and I guess it's a cautionary tale to slow down, to step a little better, make sure my steps are up. I mean, for heaven's sake, I remember being in a great mood. I was going over to the sink to get some water for my ink test, and I don't remember rushing, but I had to have been. Because how can I, just going that few steps, end up airborne and on my side, So I hit real hard on the side and kind of where my upper, the side of my ribs. So it's not much fun trying to sleep. It's kind of hard. And it's very, very familiar, because when the dog did that to me, it's the same feeling. And much better today. So... But I thought, do I have enough air? Am I going to be able to do this? But I have so many things that I'd like to keep on schedule. And next week, I really, really want to do the pen fast chat. So I'm like, I don't want to, I want to do it today if I can without causing myself any trouble. So here I am. But last week I was like a poster child for being ridiculous, because I even burned my finger. And that's much better now. In fact, I basically forgot all about that with this pain, because I guess when I was trying to move the oven grill out and it was hot, my finger wasn't completely under the hot mat, and because I guess I don't have any more of those mitts. I used to have all kinds of those. In fact, they're probably here somewhere, but I just don't use them. I use the pot holders instead. And I'm going to have to write myself a safety plan and, really stick to it, because I cannot be burning myself and banging myself up. That's terrible. Heavens to Betsy. So off of that subject, because, it'll just probably take a couple of weeks and then I'll be all better. But, so number 2 that I wrote down, I have lots of pens to clean. And in fact, I've already got 4 by the sink. And I expect any moment, as I'm writing dry some of those older ones, that they're going to be ready to be cleaned. And then I really want to go into October with no more than maybe 8, that still need to be written dry. So that's a project I can do, because standing at the sink is a lot easier than some things right now. But okay, gosh, I guess I don't need to... See, I even rush when I'm talking, but that kind of shows me. The only other things that I wrote down were that I also find that maybe I'm a little bit distracted and I need to reduce my intake of... I'm not going to say news, because I really don't intake news. I'm very selective about where I go to research things that are going on right now and that I'm trying to... know the most about and educate myself. But I think I've been doing too much of that. It's like today I just went and watched some Young Sheldon, and I thought, just while I was eating my lunch, and I thought, well, that's better, just stay away from all of that and be even more selective about going to do research and stuff, because I don't want to be all in my head distracted thinking about things that I can't control. I have my role, and I'm doing my role and my part in things, so that's that. And then I guess I already mentioned, I am really excited about doing the next pen fast chat. And there's new developments. There's lots of news in that area. So I'm going to just lay it all out for you like I always do. And we'll just see what kind of grade I give myself for this past month. And looking forward to that. So, but right now, I can see this is getting really long, and although I'm not having any trouble breathing, and I can press on my ribs, and I've read and researched and seen that no, I don't have any of the reasons to go into the doctor, so I'm sure I'm fine, but it's just sort of uncomfortable. Not constantly, but you know, when I'm trying to roll side to side, ouch, you know, especially without Motrin, without anything to, you know, to dull the pain. So that's why I'm a little bit not myself, but I was so excited to get this, you know, to show you, because I have just as many inks left to do. I've got a whole bunch of Birmingham inks to look into and to do this way. And what I'm thinking is in October, what I'll do is I will cover my 8 pens in my ink journal. And then when I finish that, all the way from the point where I do that to when I do my progress report, I'll go ahead and dabble in individual ink samples, and I'll just show you however many, whether it's 3 or 4 or 8, you know, I'll show you what I have covered when I come on for the progress report in October. And I know that's a long ways off, but I was just thinking there's no need for me to be formal and super structured on this. I need to start separating out inks that don't really work out for me, so that I can move them along, and then I'll feel much better about what I have here, you know, collected and am using. And I tend to do that with all the individual boxes. I've got the 25 shell box, you know, they each hold 25 ink samples, and I've got all the different color groups. So I end up with my favorite samples in those boxes. I'm not talking about the ones I already have a bottle of, because there's no need for me to do that. I am very aware of what I have in bottled ink, and so those sample boxes hold my favorite samples. So after this project, I now have a little baggie of inks that I want to put into those, and I may have to demote some to make room, because there's just, you know, I have so many that I use for comparisons and everything. Okay, 47 minutes, way too much. So let me know in the comments what you think, if there's anything there that you saw that you hadn't seen before. To me, the Lamy ink and the Colorverse ink were brand new to me, and some of those that I showed you were revisits, but it'd been so long, and so I really had a good time. And I'm going to have a good time too, writing thank you notes, writing letters, and writing dry, a whole bunch of my pens. So I'll see you in the comment section, and please be mindful of your steps, you know, of where you're stepping and how fast you might be walking or turning, and of any animals that might trip you, and just use my thing as a cautionary tale, because it could have been a lot worse, and it was scary. I mean, one second I was happy, and the next I was on the floor. And it made me think of my mom, because it's happened to her a lot, and oh dear, we can't afford to fall. I can't afford to fall. Nobody can. So we have to, you know, kind of slow down, and that's what I'm working on right now. I will see you in the comments, and I'll see you in the next pen chat. I cannot wait to talk to you. There's a whole bunch of things that I have to say, and it's all good, but there's been a change. So I'll see you next time. Bye for now.